Hello, guys. My name is Mark Cassara. I'm going to be your host for today's webinar. Hope you guys are ready to go. You got the popcorn ready. You got a pen and paper handy or your phone out. You're ready to take some notes because we're going to talk about how to create a 100-year plan. Listen, when you think about the next generation, we think about our kids. We think about our kids' kids. It's not a thought that's often on our mind. But I'll tell you, we're one of the few generations left that really doesn't think about legacy planning. We don't think about succession. We are really about ourselves. If we have it, spend it. Why leave it to the next generation? If I have money now, there's this idea amongst the millennials that instead of saving for a 401k, we're going to save for a 401m, which means 401 memories now. And they spend their money now versus later because they don't care about leaving anything to their kids. Well, you know, it's very important to talk about this because we have some grandson coming in and busting in my office, but listen, that's my grandson. And so the things that I'm planning right now, I'm planning for not just my kids, but actually my kids' kids as well. And so, you know, in this webinar, this presentation, what I want to share with you guys is I want to share with you guys how to build a 100-year plan. It's not as hard as we think it is. It's not as scary as we think it is. After lots of research and lots of studying of very wealthy families who have successfully done it, who we're also going to talk about in this presentation, I've been able to, I guess, formulate a plan and put together a blueprint that I can use myself, but then duplicate into other people. And so my goal here in this webinar is to give you inspiration to start to at least think about where your next 100 years is going to be as a family. Okay. What does your last name mean? What's it going to mean in 30 years from now? What's it going to mean in 50 years, in 100 years, in 120 years? And it's crazy to think 120 years out, but listen, that's only 2 generations. If you think about the average person lives to their 70s, 80s, right? Maybe us, we're midlife between 30s, 40s, and 50s. We only got another 30 years to go, maybe a little longer, 40 years, but your children have an additional 70 years to go. So that's over 100 years right there, just talking about your kids entering into retirement. And then we talk about your kids' kids, which is our grandkids. That extends it out even more, 120 plus years, right? So this whole idea of thinking about a 100-year plan shouldn't be foreign. It should be something that we're constantly thinking about on a regular basis. So guys, without further ado, I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to share my screen. I have a presentation that I put together over the last few months that it's in development. And it's basically a live presentation because the more information I learn, the more goes into and gets tucked away inside this vault of information. So by the end of this webinar, my goal for you is that you'll have some steps, some actionable steps to take so that you can begin to implement and begin planning your 100-year plan. And then for further discussion after that, you can by all means schedule a consultation with me and we can dive deeper into it. We can customize a plan for you. We can look at other options as well. But let's get into it, guys. Let's get into this. If you're on with me, I will ask you that you participate a little bit. You got to give me a little bit of give me a little something, okay? I need to know you're there. Throw up a peace sign in the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a number 1. I mean, just let me know you're alive. If you're watching this live, make sure you hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, because this is going to be on my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, let me know you're watching the replay. Hashtag replay if you can. Also, let me know where you are in the United States. Let me know what state you're representing. And let me know, maybe if you're not in the United States, what part of the world you're in. Because honestly, I can only consult with people in the United States about this stuff as far as life insurance, retirement planning, asset protection, trust, stuff like that, because I'm only licensed in this area, in this country, right? But if you're in another country, this stuff still applies to you. You just have to find somebody that's willing to work with you to help you establish these different principles. And so without further ado, guys, we're going to begin to think about setting up our 100-year plan, okay? Somebody in the chat write 100-year plan. Put in the chat 100-year plan if you can, okay? 100-year plan. All right, let me make this a little bigger. I'm going to make this screen just a tad bigger because we want everything we can visible in here so that you have everything you need to move forward and create your 100-year plan. All right. Every parent dreams of providing their children a better future, right? This is one of our goals in life. Hopefully, if you're a good parent, you think about, hey, how can I help my parent? How can I help my children? Rather, right? How can I help my children live a better life than I lived? Okay, that should be one of our goals, at least. That should be one of our goals. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm going to set myself up so that you can see me as well as the presentation, because I think it's important to see some of the things that, my facial expressions and the way that I'm saying it, because it's a very passionate subject. So let me just make sure I get this all nice and set up for you guys. We'll just keep it like that for now. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat and I'll make sure I try to answer them. If I do see them pop up on my screen, I'll make sure I answer them. So this is live, by the way. Okay. We're doing this live. Okay. So every parent, hopefully, if you're a good parent, you think about leaving a better future for your kids, right? Very few can actually comprehend the strategy that it takes, the systems to put in place, the mechanisms to build so that your not just your money, not just your assets, but your values, morals, and principles can be passed on to your children as well. So this guide that I created, this webinar is here to help you along with those planning pieces. It's kind of like a puzzle. We're going to be putting a puzzle together, okay, in the next few slides, okay? This whole presentation should last about 45 minutes. So, if you need to pop in, pop out, that's fine. And then you can always watch the replay, okay? We're currently in a generational wealth crisis, guys. Here's some statistics on the screen right here, okay? 70% is a big number. Wealth that is lost. This is a percentage of wealth transfers that fails to go to the second generation, whether it's lost in the shuffle or it's a parent or a grandparent goes through some type of maybe bankruptcy, or they don't have a proper trust and estate plan in place and their assets get left to probate court, or whatever the case may be. There's a 70% transfer loss in our current generation. And there's a statistic that I said in the last webinar that we did. It's like $84 trillion is about to be passed from one generation to another. Our parents and our grandparents, they're at the place where they're either in retirement or they're about to enter into retirement. And they got probably another 20, 30 years. And after that, all the assets that they've been building up for their entire life that they don't spend while they're alive, they're going to be passing it to the next generation. So we're in a the biggest wealth transfer in history is currently happening right before our eyes. My question to you is, are you positioned for it? Are you positioned for it? Another statistic is 90% of fortunes disappear from one generation to another to the third generation. 90% of fortunes disappear by the third generation. That's you as one generation, your kids is the second generation, and your grandkids is the third generation. So if you passed $1 million to your kids, it's likely to be used up pretty quickly, right? Nowadays, houses are more than $500,000 for a decent house. Cars are, close to 100K plus, right? So you can use that million pretty quickly. And then if there's anything left over, it goes to the grandkids. And what are the grandkids going to do with it? They're not going to have enough for a home unless you're strategically growing that money, right? So 90% of fortunes disappear by the third generation. We'll talk about two different families. One family has continuously passed their generational wealth to the sixth generation, and then another family squabbled it in 2 to 3 generations. Okay. Another statistic, 77% of assets are reduced. The average percentage of assets lost during transfer, that's because of not properly planning. and it goes to probate, or collectors come, or lawsuits come, or something happens where assets need to be liquidated and paid out to lawyers, or maybe there's a divorce that takes place and the other spouse takes half, right? There's a lot of different variables that can happen right there, but 70% of assets don't properly get moved to the next generation. It's crazy. These statistics reveal a sobering reality, guys. Creating wealth is only half the battle. It's not the full battle. That's not why we're doing this webinar, so that you can figure out how to create wealth. There's lots of videos out there on how to create wealth. There's even videos on how to protect your wealth, but there's very few videos on how to pass on your wealth. And that's one of the things that I'm passionate about. I've created a 100-year plan for myself and my family, and I'm teaching my kids these strategies so that when they're older, they're going to be able to continue that 100-year plan to 200 years. And then their kids will pass it down to another 100 years, and we'll have 300 to 400-year plan, all because Papa Casara decided to make some changes in our family organization, our family unit, right? So my goal for you is to catch some of that. Maybe you won't get everything, but maybe you can catch a few things and at least start the process. Okay, let's keep going. Financial foundation, beyond just basic investing, there's a few different areas that you can look at to make sure that your assets stay protected and growing at the same time, versus throwing in some type of gambling account. And I talk about investments as gambling accounts. Here's why. Yes, investments are legal, and you can go ahead and open up an IRA, a Roth, a 401k, and you can even make some decent money over the years. But there's always a chance that the market's going to crash. Always a chance. If one bad thing comes out of the West, the North, the South, the East, from one of the major world leaders, our market is unstable because it's run by emotions. And as fast as it goes up is as fast as it will go down. So here are some alternatives. Hope you're taking notes right now. To diversify your assets into other things that will potentially protect your money versus just gambling it, right? Asset diversification, okay? Strategic allocation across multiple asset class to minimize risk while maximizing growth. That means you don't just rely on a 401k for your retirement. You have a 401k, you have a Roth, you have some bonds, you have some mutual funds, you have some life insurance, you have some real estate, you have some gold and silver. Asset diversification is very important. And by the way, let me just stop here and say, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just information that I've gathered over the years that I'm sharing with you from one dad to another, or from one parent to another, so that maybe you can pick up some ideas and suggestions and go and do the further research and meet with a professional and get it done. Okay, so now that disclaimer is out of the way, let's continue to move on. I am licensed, however, to sell services such as life insurance, retirement planning, estate and trusts, and annuities. Okay, so some of the things we're going to talk about have to do with that. What is a LIRP? L-I-R-P. It's simply a cash value life insurance policy that you can put money in over a long period of time, and you can build what's called a tax-free retirement. How is it tax-free? Because when money goes into a life insurance policy, it goes in after taxes, never to be taxed again. You can then use that money whenever you want for future purchases or future investments, 100% tax-free. Because when you borrow from your policy, you're taking a loan out so that the IRS can't tax you. It's as simple as that. You use it as a loan so that there's no taxable event. You use as much money as you want. You go buy assets, you buy real estate, you buy things that are going to appreciate in value. The money you get from those assets, you can pay back the loan, right? It's just called leveraging your assets to buy and sell other assets. So you make life insurance an asset. You fund it with as much money as you can, right? Then you can borrow against it to go do other things with it, okay? We have strategies where we help people reduce their mortgage in half of the time that traditionally 30 years would take to pay it off. There's ways to do it with life insurance and strategic loan placement. And if you're interested in that information, somewhere around this video or in one of my social media profiles, just click the link and you can schedule a free consultation. So a LIRP is a life insurance retirement plan. It has to be a cash value policy. How do you know if you have cash value? It's not going to expire. If you have a term policy, it'll expire in 10, 15, 20, or 30 years. One guy asked me on a TikTok live, how do I know if I have cash value available in my policy? Well, I said, do you have a permanent policy or a term policy? He said, I have a term policy from my employer. I said, well, brother, you don't have any cash value and you barely have insurance, because when you leave that employer, that insurance disappears, right? So he immediately scheduled an appointment with me to get a private policy that he owns that he can start to build as an asset. Okay. Real estate. My wife and I are in the process of purchasing real estate right now. That's an investment that we're building for not just us, but for our kids. I sat my kids down the other night. I said, guys, we're about to move into a home that we are going to own. We're going to be investing in it. We're going to be building equity in it over the next few years. We're going to be, doing some other things with some other real estate projects, but everything we're doing is for you. And their eyes kind of went wide open. And I said, one day we're not going to be here, but all of our assets are going to be here because we can't take them with us. Everything that we have now is going to be passed to you, and it's going to be a succession plan that we're starting and we're building right now. And it's going to go through our family trust, and our family trust is then going to distribute it to you guys in a proper manner. But you guys, I said this too. I said, you guys have to make sure you're living right. You have to make sure you're doing the right things. You're making the right decisions now, because that will affect whether you get part of that inheritance or not, right? And the little kids didn't really get it, but the older kids got it, right? The teenagers got it. So I made sure I gave them a little side eye with that conversation, right? So real estate's another investment. And then youth accounts. If you want to get your kids started, there's tons of different youth accounts that you can start, you can look at to see what's a good fit for your kids. And on the next screen, we'll talk a little bit more about that. I have a book I published on Amazon, my first book. I'm a official author, publisher. And if you type in the title, Wealthy Kids, The Journey of Financial Parenting, you can pull it up on Amazon. I think it's like $12, but it talks about all the different ways to save for your kids. It gives a breakdown: savings account, 529s, brokerage account, CDs, money market account, fixed annuities. Even for kids, you can start an annuity for a kid. Believe it or not, there's no age limit for that. As long as you've got money and you can put it into an annuity, typically it's about $10,000 or more that you can invest into an annuity and purchase an annuity. You'll have that for the rest of your life. That $10K could grow to $1 million+ at retirement just by compounding interest over the years, right? And then the almighty IUL policy, which is a cash value life insurance policy. So if you're interested in getting that book, guys, you can check it out on Amazon. Just go and type in Wealthy Kids, The Journey of Financial Parenting. We're going to talk about really quickly two different families, okay? This is the tale of two fortunes, and it's going to be just a quick little snapshot. We're not going to go too in-depth at this time, but maybe another webinar we can really break it down. The first family is called the Rockefeller family, right? And we hear this a lot on TikTok. We hear it on Instagram, Snapchat. We hear it all over the place, right? What's the Rockefeller method? The Rockefeller waterfall method. Well, the Rockefellers built a system. They built a blueprint that they passed down from one generation to another. And it wasn't just wealth. It wasn't just money. It wasn't just assets. It was a system. It was values. It was principles that they passed on from one generation to another. And the next generation was also taught how to pass those on. Not just the money, but the values, the principles, the Constitution, the family standards, okay? Then there was another family called the Vanderbilts. The Vanderbilts declined, fleeting fortune. The Vanderbilts, they were actually wealthier than the Rockefellers at that time, but they lived very lavish. If you ever seen the movie The Great Gatsby, it's basically a guy who just blows all his money. He's very, very rich and wealthy. He doesn't really have any friends, but everybody comes and uses him. He just squanders his money. And that's what the Vanderbilts lived like. Now, the only really recognizable feature in America right now is Vanderbilt University that the Vanderbilts established years ago. But there's really no Vanderbilt here alive right now that is uber wealthy, unfortunately, because the inheritance was squandered after the second and third generation, right? And so let's go down here and read just a little bit, okay? John D. Rockefeller built an empire, but his true legacy lied in how he ensured its longevity, okay, by instilling strong values in frugality, strategic philanthropy, and unity. He established robust family offices and foundations. This deliberate approach ensured his family's fortune served a greater purpose, enduring and growing for multiple generations. Now let's go to the Vanderbilts. Cornelius, let's take a little drink of this. Cornelius Commodore was his kind of his nickname. He was ruthless, by the way. Cornelius Vanderbilt amassed an immense fortune in the railroad and shipping industry, but it notoriously dissipated within a few generations. A relentless focus on lavish spending combined with a lack of cohesive financial planning or shared family values, okay, led to the rapid and dramatic squandering of their vast inheritance. And what are the key differences that we can see between these two different families? No, the Rockefellers may not be all peachy either. There's some things that they did wrong. There's some evil things that they've done over the years. They have some really negative stories that we hear about, right? The Rockefellers gave money to the GED, General Education Fund, and said one time, we don't want a nation of thinkers. We want a nation of workers, right? But there's some really good things that we can pull from these families as well, right? Everybody has the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? These are some of the good principles we're going to pull from this family. So he strategically built a fortress that was based on passing not only money and assets, but values and principles and financial literacy to the next generation, okay? More legacies and lasting impact. Let's check this out. This is, again, just a couple different families that have cracked the code, okay? Beyond just the Rockefellers, other families who have also mastered the art of intergenerational wealth and value transfer. And that's a key statement right there, okay? I want you to write this down. Value transfer. Put it in the comments if you can, if you're watching us live or if you're watching the replay. Type in the comments. Value transfer. Let me know you're alive. Let me know you're out there. Value transfer. It's not just wealth, not just money, not just assets, but value transfer. In my last webinar, we talked about compounding value. We know about compounding interest, but has anybody ever heard about compounding value? Compounding value is value that builds on the value that was given to them as they were little kids, right? Every generation builds and adds more value. Every single succeeding generation, the value grows. The more wealth is transferred because of the strategic value, principles, morals, ethics. And, hey, not every generation will get it right? There may be some generations that are just knuckleheads and they just don't get it, unfortunately. But we can do, as parents and grandparents, the best thing that we can do is to start teaching them now. Now, maybe you have older kids that have their own families. It's not too late. It's not too late to get them together with the entire family. Get together for a family dinner or a family picnic or a family outing or a family vacation and say, hey, guys, I know we didn't teach this to you while you were younger, but we'd love to share some value that we just got from a guy named Mark Cassara on the internet, who gave us a strategic blueprint on how to create a 100-year plan. And take some of the nuggets that you're learning, hopefully you're taking notes, and flesh it out with your family. Because I promise you, if you take some of these principles and you share it with your family, you start to teach your family, you're going to change the direction of your family's life. I promise you. That's my promise. I can give you the information. I can't force you to do it. I can bring a horse to the watering hole, but I can't force the animal to drink that water, right? I can give you all of the tools to use, but it's up to you to actually go and actually put action to it and use it, okay? If you're still typing in the comments, type in the comments action, okay? Type in the comments action, because it's all about action, right? The Bible says we can have as much faith as we want, but if we don't have action to back that faith up, then it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything, okay? If you guys are still with me, give me a thumbs up. Give me number 1. Give me the word action in the comments. Just let me know you're here. Let me know you're with us. You can hear me okay. Video's still going well. One of the other families was the Rothschild families, okay? Rothschilds, again, they're kind of hit or miss, right? They have some negative things. A lot of people talk bad about the Rothschild family, but One of the good things was, and you can find good in everything, one of the good things is the Rothschild banking dynasty built an unprecedented global financial network that has spanned over 2 centuries. Guys, we're not just talking 2 generations, we're talking 2 centuries. Okay, it's said that the Rothschilds own majority of the wealth in the entire world. Now, I don't know if that's true, but if it is, it's all because they have systems and processes in place that they pass down from one generation to another. Their success stemmed from rigorous financial discipline, a strong sense of family unity, and a strict adherence to shared values. Sound a little familiar, right? We just talked about how the Rockefellers did the same exact thing, including strategic alliances, long-term vision that prioritizes the family enterprise above individual gain. Guys, if you have a business, if you own a business, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have your kids involved in your business, you're making a huge mistake. Get your kids as soon as possible. Start tomorrow. Get them involved in your business somehow. Sit down, tell them everything you do, how you do it, when you do it, where you do it, who you do it with, and why you do it, so that they have a sense of a family organization, a family business, because who knows, when they grow up, they may take over your legacy. They may take over your business. So start them now. If you're missing that, that's one of the number one keys you can take away from this. If that's the only thing that you learn right now, is include your family, include your kids in your business affairs. Don't think they're too young. I have a 6-year-old grandson that I involve in my business affairs, teaching them what we do, how we do it, how we help families. When we make a sale, when we, win an award, when we go traveling because the company's going to, I involve the kids and I involve the grandkids. So do that. That's number one. Do it. Let's look at the Mars family. Okay, the Mars family, it may ring a bell. Okay. The Mars family were founders of a global confectionery and pet care empire. They've maintained private ownership for over a century. Their enduring legacy is built on the foundation of core principles, qualities, responsibility, mutuality, efficiency, and freedom. This deep commitment to values and long-term vision over short-term gain has driven their sustained growth and influence. I believe Mars, if I'm not mistaken, Mars makes the candy too. Mars family owns Mars Incorporated, a Mars confection and pet company. And the family is known for its secrecy for keeping the company private. Interesting. With estimated net worth of $117 billion. They are one of the wealthiest families in the United States, often ranking as the second wealthiest family in the world. So Mars, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, confectionery is like candy and baking goods and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll do a whole nother webinar on that. But yeah, I believe Mars makes M&Ms as well. Okay. So there's keys that you can take away from this. Okay. Keys. What's some of the keys? Drop them in the comments. What are some of the keys that you took away from those 3 families, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and the Mars family? They had a strong sense of what? A strong sense of what? Let me know in the comments. A strong sense of family values, right? A strong sense of family values, family principles, and passing their not just wealth, not just assets, but values from one generation to another. Let's just focus in a little bit on the Rockefeller method, okay? Rockefeller, we call this the value transfer. Okay, beyond financial acumen, the true genius of the Rockefeller lies in the meticulous approach to transferring not just wealth, but also core values, principles, discipline framework for its management. Number 1, robust systems and structures. Okay, the Rockefellers were known for creating, right, and formulating family offices. If you don't know what a family office is, it's when you have enough money to manage it within your own family. You hire people that work for you to manage your assets, your money. You have pretty much your own banking system, right? You have a wealth manager working directly for you. You have to amass a good amount of money to be a family office, but there are plenty of family offices out there, you know. And so the Rockefellers built a family office. They also used trusts. Now the Rockefellers used a host of different trusts. There's 200 different types of trust, right? One of the primary trusts that they used, because they had so much wealth that they didn't know what to do with, and they wanted to make sure that it didn't get locked up and they didn't have to pay massive amounts of taxes, estate taxes. They put it in irrevocable trusts, dynasty trusts, okay? When you put money into a dynasty trust, or you put assets into an irrevocable trust, two types of trust, revocable, irrevocable. If you put money into an irrevocable trust, you can't touch it. It becomes the trust's complete owned assets. You do not any longer own that asset. So what does that do? That removes the ability to manipulate it, right? If you put $100 million in a family trust that's built on an irrevocable trust, you can no longer touch that money. It's owned by the trust. Now you have managers in there, and you can have people that can manage those assets for you. You can even manage the assets, but they're no longer in your name, right? So when you set forth an irrevocable trust, you can't touch it anymore, and you can't reverse the process. Then you can have a revocable trust where you can manage, you can manipulate, you have full control over all of those assets, but it doesn't protect you from, it protects you from probate, but it doesn't protect you from like lawsuits and creditors ahead of time. Once you die, it locks up and it becomes an irrevocable trust, and then it's protected from everything from that point on. Okay. So if you're interested in learning more about estate planning and trusts, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an estate planning lawyer, but I'm a consultant that can help navigate you and get your questions answered, and at least suggest to you some of the other things that other wealthy families are doing so that you can get your estate plan properly set up. And we have an entire estate plan package available. It's on a digital platform. You can get everything done for an affordable price. And if that's of interest of you, and you own assets, anything, if you own a house or anything over $50,000 to $75,000 of assets, you should highly consider looking at establishing a revocable living trust. And so if that's you, reach out to me, leave me a comment, find me on TikTok, Instagram, wherever the socials lead you. Click any type of link in my bio. You'll be able to schedule a free consultation with me, and just leave in the notes that you're looking for the information about the trust, okay? Number 2, define processes and protocols, implementing clear procedures for investment decisions, right? They didn't just leave their investment decisions up to one person. They had an entire board of leaders amongst the family members that made financial decisions. Now, maybe you don't trust your kids, maybe they're too young, but it's something that you need to at least consider as they get older, giving them a little bit more responsibility and including them on some financial decisions. The Western culture, middle-class America, our parents were so scared of involving us in any type of financial decision. They wanted to keep everything from the kids. Now, I agree that we should keep the problems from the kids for the most part, especially when they're young. But as they get older, they deserve to know how you handled certain situations, because it can be a very, very important learning experience for them as well. So get them involved in some of these decisions that you're making. We're getting our kids involved in purchasing this house and putting a down payment down and buying investments and how much we're putting in cash value. Like we're involving them so at least they know to ask the right questions later on down the road. So the Rockefellers built based on these defined processes and protocols. Shared standards. Number 3, shared standards and values. Okay. Instill a common ethos of financial literacy. This should be like a common objective in your family for everybody to be financially disciplined. Maybe they're not the best at math, maybe they're not the best at finances, but you know what? You can teach certain disciplines like budgeting, right? Like managing a checkbook, like making sure that they're paying themselves first, making sure that they're not overspending, right? They're living within their means and not beyond their means, right? Maybe they're maybe they don't go for the $100,000 car, they go for the $50,000 car, and then they put the difference into an investment account, right? So there should be an overall standard that you're teaching your kids along the way, so that when they're older, they make the right decisions. This was part of the Rockefeller method. Instilling a common ethos of financial literacy, frugality. That means not overspending, not going and blowing money just to blow it because you want some fancy things. The problem with America is we make money and then we spend it because we want to expand our lifestyle to go buy the cars and the houses and have the Rolex watches. Why? So we can show off to people that don't even care about us, right? That are probably haters anyway, right? So they taught them a standard of frugality and philanthropy. What does philanthropy mean to you? Excuse me. Philanthropy is giving. How can you teach your kids to give back? When your kids get paid for their birthday or for a gig that they worked or for some type of side job, are you teaching them to tithe? Are you teaching them to give to charity? Are you teaching them to put away for someone in need? That's part of philanthropy, giving to important organizations or missions or impacts of other people, okay? Responsible stewardship across all generations. Stewardship is simply, I talked about this with a buddy of mine the other day. Stewardship is properly managing what is given to you, properly managing what is yours. If you don't have anything to manage, you can't be a good steward, right? So one of the prayers that I've been praying is, God, allow me to show you that I am a good steward, right? By giving me more so that I can show you what stewardship truly looks like, right? And so that's kind of like a theme within our family. God, allow us to have more so that we can steward over it properly and manage it for you. Because honestly, guys, whether you're a churchy person, you're in faith, you're a faith, driven person or not, everything we have is God's. The breath that we breathe is God. He allows us to be here, right? So we need to be stewards over our kids, our wealth, our assets, our investments, our cars, our houses, because He's given us the ability to have all of that anyway. So let me stop. We're not in church today, but that just comes out of my heart, okay? Clear expectations and visions, okay? Clear expectations and visions. Whoopsie. Okay. Communicating a long-term vision for family wealth, outlining goals, responsibilities, and expectations of active participants in preserving legacy. Let me mute this site because I'm getting some pop-ups right now. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Communicating a long-term vision for the family's wealth, outlining roles, responsibilities, and expectations of active participants in preserving the legacy. Again, this is where you start to give your kids responsibility. You start to teach your kids, hey, this is what you do when this happens. This is what we do when this happens. This is how you manage this. This is how you allocate that, right? And as they get older, maybe teenagers or young adults, you start to give them responsibilities and help, and you start to include them in very important decisions that you guys make as a family. Okay. So hopefully you guys are getting some stuff here. If you're getting some value from this, let me know. I want to make sure you're getting value. We're gonna get wrapped up probably in the next 15 minutes, so just bear with us, okay? The Rockefeller method also included in this whole value transfer. And now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. This is how we begin to establish our 100-year plan. It all starts with a few initial thoughts or a few initial strategies, and a few of them we're going to talk about right now, okay? Family mission statements is a practical step that you can start today to begin your 100-year plan, okay? Document principles that define your family's purpose and values. Now, if you're in need of some resources, we do have some printouts available. Reach out to me and I'll get these printouts to you. But we have some guiding steps to help you create a family mission statement. It's not as hard as you think it is. And you can even use, some of the ChatGPT stuff out there. Help me create a family mission based on blah, 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 blah. And the more direction you give it, the better output that you're going to get. Okay. Number 2, regular family meetings. How often do you guys have family meetings? How often do you sit with your kids around the table and you discuss important things. Now, I'm not just talking about just shooting the breeze and just eating and then leaving the table, or I'm not talking about me having a family meeting and everybody's on the device, everybody's on the phone. I'm talking about how many times have you had a family meeting around dinner or cookies or coffee or dessert, and you just shared valuable principles with your kids. A lot of times parents think, they're not gonna appreciate it. They're gonna roll their eyes. They're too young, or they're too old, or they want to play with their friends, or they want to talk on the phone. Well, listen, parents, you control the narrative in your family. If you allow them to put a major emphasis on other things other than family core values, then that's on you. That's not on the kids. You create the narrative. You drive the narrative in your family. You set the standards in your family. And if you haven't done a good job up until now, praise the Lord that tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's a new day to start fresh, to start over, to start implementing these principles, these strategies, these values, morals, and these ethics into your family. One conversation at a time. One conversation at a time. Start by writing out your family mission, but get your kids involved in writing out the family mission. Get your wife or husband involved in writing out the family mission so you all agree upon it. Okay? Regular family meetings, maybe once a week. If you can't do it once a week, maybe once a month, but start somewhere. Start somewhere. Start doing something, because if you just get this information, you don't do anything, then you're just wasting your time. And the next 100 years will be just a big mystery. And you won't have any idea if your great grandkids are even going to know your last name. I know that just hit a chord with somebody right there. I'm going to tell you my dream, my vision. I want my kids to have a picture of me with a sport coat and a pipe and maybe a cool hunting hat. And I want it positioned up on the mantle of my grandkids' home. And I want them to sit around with all their kids, and I want them to point at me and say, Papa Casera changed the trajectory of our entire family because he made a few decisions when he was in his 40s to sit with us, to sit with our parents, and to teach us about family mission statements and core values. And he took the time to meet with us and sit with us on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. Okay? I want to be that picture on the wall that my kids look for 2-3 generations from now and say, I remember that guy, Papa Casera. I never met him, but I heard all the stories about him because my parents told me and their parents told them. Do you get what I'm saying, guys? Do you see the vision now? Do you see the 100-year plan, how important it is? I mean, unless you just want your grandkids to completely forget who you are and just design their own plan. We need to become the change agent in our family. There's a big lack of leadership in this generation. There's a lack of leadership. There's a sense of empathy. People don't care. Well, I'm going to bring back the importance of creating a legacy. Everything I talk about online, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials, I'm going to bring back creating a legacy and how important it really is, because we need more people to create legacies so that our good core values, our principles, our standards last from generation to generation, or else the next few generations are going to continue to get worse and just be degenerates. And I don't want to see that happen. So let's continue. Financial education, age-appropriate lessons for kids. Super important as they get older. Teach them about money. Philanthropy focus, strategic giving that reinforces values and creates family identity. Teach them to give generously. Okay. Creating your family constitution, very important. We talked in the previous slide about a mission statement. The next step to just a simple mission statement, a mission and vision statement, if you want, right, is creating an entire constitution for your family. What does that mean? A constitution is made up of several different things. It's made up of core values, definitive core values that you live by. Identify 5 to 7 principles that your family absolutely lives by, okay? And defines who you guys are, so that when you teach your kids are going to teach their kids, and that those core values are going to go from one generation to the next, And 100 years from now, they're going to be talking about their core values, but it's all going to start because you made the decision to sit down and write them out on paper. Okay. A decision-making framework. Number 2, decision-making framework. Establish clear processes how family financial decisions will be made, including roles, responsibilities, conflict resolution methods. When siblings have some type of crazy argument or fight, instead of just walking the other direction and leaving each other and not speaking to each other for a month, bring them together and have a method in place so that we can come to an agreement and we can apologize and we can make amends and we can be back to a strong family unit. Don't just let your kids fight and run the other direction. Bring them back face to face and figure it out with them together until they make amends and they're back to being best friends again, or at least civil with one another. Okay, that's all part of the decision-making framework. Number 3, development standards. Okay. Within your family constitution, you need to create guidelines for education, career preparation, personal growth that align with your values that we just talked about, that will align with your values and your long-term plan. Start young. Don't wait till they're in their teen years to start doing this. Start when they're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. It's going to change your entire family's future, I promise you. And yeah, we talked about philanthropy, giving back. We talked about all 4, okay? Summary, right? Let's just talk about this real briefly. Benefits of creating a family constitution. It gives you purpose, okay? Importance for being a family business. Your family will feel more like a unit versus just kind of everybody's on their own, every man for themselves. Most American families right now, it's every man for themselves. Most, I didn't say all, but most, it's every man for themselves. The kids go to school. The wife and the dad, the husband and the wife go to work, right? Everybody's doing their own thing. They come back at the end of the night and they're each in their own room, right? And the only time they get to see each other may be briefly in the morning as they're running off to their individual plans. This is where parents have to, again, carve out that time so that we can bring our kids and become a unit together. Force it if you have to, but have dinner together as many times per week as possible. Make Sunday a complete Sabbath day where you sit with them and you talk with them and you provide insight for them and you help them figure out their problems together on Sunday, or make it a Saturday, whichever. Okay. But it's important to have that family business feel, that family unit feel. Process over product. Crafting a family constitution is a collaborative process that strengthens family bonds. Inclusion of all members is crucial, even down to the littlest youngin. Get their input. See what they think. See how they feel. Trust me, it'll go a long way. Clarity and values. These are some of the benefits. It brings clarity and values. It brings historical context. Rooting your values in your family history enhances their meaning and encourages engagement in the process. Your family is going to talk about what you guys did for the next 60 to 70 years. They're going to talk to their friends, their kids, their associates, their coworkers about what Papa Casara did, what you did to create this legacy plan, okay? Long-term benefits, okay? Investing in a family constitution fosters harmony and provides guidance for future generations. Oh, I missed one. Start small. It doesn't have to be grandiose, huge. You could just start with one simple conversation. Start by writing down your mission statement, and then you can move on to your constitution. Again, if you need help with your family constitution, reach out to us. This is what we do. We consult with this. We have resources available. We can create a plan together, right? It's part of our coaching package that we offer families. We sit with you. We'll make sure we build an entire succession plan for the next 100 years, including life insurance, estate planning, trusts, and other financial ways to make, earn, and protect your money. It's kind of an all-inclusive package. Customized support. Organizations like BBH can assist in developing tailored framework for each family's needs. BBH is just another organization. You can Google them, and they kind of assist with some of this family constitution planning and whatnot. Contact for assistance. Interested families can reach out to us directly. This is part of what we do. This is our core vision mission, okay? Legal structure, protecting your family. It all starts with a family trust. If you don't have a family trust in place, it's going to be very hard to pass on your legacy. If you don't have a trust in place, your assets will likely go through probate. Your money will basically be locked up and liquidated and go to attorney fees. So make sure you have a family trust. We can help you establish a family trust for less than $2,500. And again, we're not estate attorneys, right? But we are consultants that can help you navigate a do-it-yourself trust platform. You don't even need my assistance. You can log into the platform and it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to complete the entire trust start to finish, because it was designed and passed by lawyers to make sure it was 100% compliant. And it's all based on your individual address, your state that you live in. The trust is customized to your state laws, your rules and regulations of the state that you live in. So if you don't have a trust, make sure you reach out, schedule a consultation. Setting up family LLCs. If you own multiple properties, you may want to consider building multiple LLCs and putting those properties in LLCs. Maybe having a holding company that holds the other LLCs. This is all part of the strategic planning that we can help you navigate if you reach out to us and we decide to work together. Okay, then strategic estate planning. This is basically, it's comprehensive wealth transfer, making sure that your money is in certain places that is going to be protected from future loss, and it's going to be easily transferred from one generation to the next. Okay, we're going to fly through this next couple slides. Okay, why creating a trust is a must. Trust is a must. Type in the comments. Trust is a must for most families. A will versus trust. We'll rock and roll through this very fast. If you only have a will, you're guaranteed to go through probate. A will does not protect you from probate. Beneficiary designations protect you from probate, but a will itself does not prevent your assets from going to probate. If you die and you have a home, cars, money in the bank, retirements, it's going to get sucked into probate if you don't have beneficiaries, designations, especially, but if you don't have a trust set in place where those assets, that home, those titleable assets are funded into the trust, and now the trust owns and protects them. If you don't have a trust, you're bound to go to probate, and probate is a 6 to 9 month process, and it sucks. Okay, I've talked to many people that have gone through it. It is not fun. It's a nightmare. So it's very important to avoid probate. Why a trust is a must. It avoids probate. It gives you privacy, and it helps you to control and gives you flexibility. You can set certain standards inside your trust where your kids don't get lump sums. They get strategic payouts, kind of like a trust fund will pay them at age 20, at age 25, at age 30, at 35. When they get married, when they complete a certain task, you can, inside of a trust, you can build out your own rules so that they just don't get everything at once and squander it within 1 to 2 generations later. You can even set aside stuff for your grandkids. It's all done in the comprehensive legacy plan that we talk about, okay? The right trust structure is very important. We have a revocable living trust versus irrevocable living trust. We have educational trust. There's tons of different types of trust. There's even life insurance trusts that are very important. If you have large life insurance death benefit policies, it may be a good idea to, before you pass away, put your life insurance into a life insurance trust later on down the road so that all those assets that are transferred, now we're talking like millions of dollars worth of death benefits, it may be a good idea for you to look into that. Typically, stuff that's under $1 million, it's just going to go to your beneficiary and, it'll be fine. But you want to try to avoid any type of excess by making sure your money is protected properly, right? And that would be by looking into a life insurance trust. The power of LERP inside your family, the power of properly planning for a tax-free retirement. You get the tax-free growth feature built into the life insurance policy, which means when you build up enough money, you can take it and use it as retirement completely tax-free, where you don't have to pay Uncle Sam anything. This is part of your structuring your wealth, your inheritance, your strategic plan to be able to make sure you manage your wealth properly so that it can be passed to the next generation. The LERP offers protection, right? There's a 0% floor, so you never lose. Even if the market crashes, you don't lose a dime. And direct transfer to your beneficiary. Remember I said designated beneficiary. There's a designated beneficiary inside of every life insurance policy. You have to designate a beneficiary. And so because of that, It avoids probate completely. It's asset protected. So it goes straight to your family. Okay, let's continue. Setting up a life insurance retirement plan is not as hard as you think it is. Again, this is part of the financial plan within your 100-year plan. Very important part of it because, again, you want to make sure you're not just putting your money in assets that are risky. Even real estate can be risky because the market can crash. So you want to make sure you have strategically set up principal protection funds like a life insurance policy, annuities, bonds, CDs, those type of things where your money is not going to go down if the market crashes, okay? If you want more information about how to set up a life insurance retirement plan, we're not going to go into detail on this now, but you can reach out to me, set up a free, no obligation strategy call. We'll make sure we give you all of the details so that you're informed to see if it's a good fit for you. Supplemental retirement income, you can get financial security and protection, tax advantages, legacy and estate planning. It's all part of the whole package, right? Flexibility and control. Let's keep going. Here are some suggestions for educating your kids at certain ages, okay? Ages 5 to 10. Give them basic money concepts, savings, saving habits, introduce them to the family mission. Again, remember, they're not too young at 4 or 5 years old to start the conversation. Ages 11 to 17, teach them about budgeting, compound interest, investments, okay? Family business exposure, get them involved in your business. 18 to 25, college planning, career preparation, credit management. Getting their credit established by age 18 is an incredible way to give your kids good financial habits, because if they have good credit and you've taught them how to manage their money properly, they'll have good credit for the rest of their lives. Age 26 and up, this is advanced planning, advanced investments, leadership within the family parameters, the enterprise, and even mentorship roles, mentoring the younger generation. What a novel idea of having your older kids mentor your younger kids. Who thinks about that? Nobody thinks about that anymore, okay? Again, I have some of this information in my book that is available on Amazon. Wealthy Kids, the journey of financial parenting. Go ahead and check that out. Let's keep going. Urgent next steps. Here's some of the next steps that you need to take immediately. Okay. Draft your family mission and your family core values immediately. Okay. Again, if you need these documents, reach out to me. I'd be happy to send you a free PDF to help you figure out at least what to do, give you some guided questions to start asking. But do it this weekend, okay? It's Friday night tonight. Our webinar is going on August 15th. Start immediately. Start this weekend. Get a piece of paper out. Go buy a binder from Walmart, Target, Amazon, and start. Write a title on the binder. Our Family Constitution, Our Family Blueprint, Our Family Legacy Guide, Our 100-year plan. That's a good idea. I should probably come up with some type of notebook or binder and make it available to people who want it, okay? Begin drafting your family values and your mission, okay? Evaluate current investments. Write all of the accounts that your money is in right now and see if you can consolidate or move things around. If all of your money is locked up in investments and you're exposed to too much risk, it may be a good conversation to have with us to say, hey, Mark, what can I look in that will help me protect and preserve my money and still allow it to grow at the same time? We can talk about the LIRP, the life insurance retirement plan. We can talk about fixed indexed annuities. We can talk about strategically setting you up for a tax-free retirement. Just reach out to us, schedule a free consultation. Hold your first family meeting in the next 30 days, guys. Hold your first family meeting, at least getting the ball rolling, right? If you don't know what to say, I have some guided questions that I can give you, so that at least you can hold the paper and say, I got this from a guy named Mark Casera on the internet, and he has some questions for me to ask you guys, and just start asking the questions. And it will feel unnatural at first, but then it will become very natural the more you do it. Make sure you don't just do it once. Do it consecutively every month or every 2 weeks or every quarter, but at least do it consecutively. And then finally, last but not least, schedule your free financial strategy call with us within the next 14 days. Do not pass this opportunity up. If you're watching this online and you're watching it in the future, click the link in the comment section or in the description of this video. Don't even think twice about it. Click the link, find a good day and time on my schedule. I'll get a notification immediately to my phone. I'll immediately send you out a confirmation that we got your booking. And then we'll send you a few reminders up into the day that you have that appointment with us. When you meet with us, it's going to be a no obligation free strategy call. I don't charge for these consultations, but I'm going to help you navigate and figure out what a good direction would be to at least start. We'll talk about life insurance. We'll talk about retirement planning. We'll talk about succession. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about that can help you along this process. And if you decide that you want to work together with us, we help you with life insurance and retirement planning absolutely free of charge. If you want to get into estate planning, there's a cost to get the trust set up, the will and trust set up. And if you want to be part of our mentorship program, our longer-term mastermind, we can talk about those options as well. We have a few families that are interested in being a part of our mastermind. We have future desires for this group to meet, maybe across the ocean, maybe in remote islands of the Caribbean. I don't know, but we want to start family retreats where us and you get together and we talk with our families and our kids and we have fun and we play in the water and the beaches and we jam out on jet skis, but we also have conversations about values, morals, principles, our family constitution, our mission, vision, our mantras. Long-term thinking, guys. We're not just thinking about today and the next 30 days. We're talking about 5, 10, 15 years, building families, building communities across the globe together. Hope you guys are getting this. It's a big vision that I have, and I'm super excited about it. So, guys, if you found value in this, secure your family's future tomorrow by starting today. Click the link in the bio, find my social media account somewhere, click the link somewhere that you can schedule a free consultation. Within those links, there'll be some free resources that you can get as well. There's also a legacy guide. If you're interested, maybe you don't want to meet, maybe you don't want to go as far as a Zoom call, but maybe you need a little extra help. Buy the legacy guide. It's $7. Okay. There's a few other opportunities within that sale, that journey that will allow you to maybe meet with an expert and talk it out with somebody that can help you navigate this a little deeper. But at the very least, go through the legacy audit, buy the legacy guide for $7, and it'll at least give you a blueprint so that you can start the process. And then when you feel comfortable, go ahead and jump on a Zoom call with us and we can get the whole thing and lay out the whole custom plan for you. Okay, guys, I hope you found value. If you're looking for a community to join, we have a school group, Legacy Wealth Academy. It's like $5-10 right now. We're going to be raising the price pretty soon. We got over 100 people in there right now, but it's just where I post information on a regular basis and I give you ideas, tips, tricks, strategies to use throughout the weeks that you can just on your own terms go in, read the information. I have plenty of training videos, family banking videos, what's the word I'm looking for? Rockefeller. I was thinking Rothschild. Rockefeller waterfall method videos that you can also watch free of charge once you're in the community. How to set up IULs properly, the difference between the 3 different types of life insurance, and tons of other trainings that are available at your disposal inside of the group as well. If you're interested in this, in the link in my bio somewhere, there's a join our community. You can go ahead and click that link and you'll be brought to one of our pages where you can join the community as well. My name is Mark Cassara, guys. I appreciate you guys. Listen, we went for a full hour. And I'm so proud of you that you guys stuck with us. I'm proud of the ones who lasted the entire time. I'm proud of the ones who are watching the replay 100% through. And guys, listen, this is just the beginning. We're going to have more webinars like this. We're going to release more trainings like this. But from my heart to yours, I hope and pray that you take some of the things that we taught in this webinar and it triggered some thought processes so that you can go ahead and at least start your 100-year plan. It's not as hard as you think it is. And now that you have some of the tools that I've given you to start the process, you can build off of that. Get my book on Amazon. Join our community if you want. Schedule a free consultation, and let's get this journey started. Because again, remember, and I'll close with this, protect and preserve their tomorrow by starting today. My name is Mark Cassara. I try to make things very easy to understand. Thank you for being with us, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. God bless, guys, and we'll talk soon.